So, if we just take a, well, since we last met, there has been Jill Sander has returned to her namesake, and there has been Fendi. What has stood out for you, Anna, at the Milan Fashion Week? Have you enjoyed what you've seen so far? Have you been following it?
I've been following it a little bit, to be honest, not every single show, but I kind of really enjoyed Prada, as I always do. The shoes were amazing. She creates an amazing story, and for me that's always like the most standout show.
Yeah.
And Dolce.
Verity, what did you think of Jill coming back?
I mean, it's just so interesting to see what she actually did with the show this season. That it's kind of, you see how sort of relevant she has always been in the collections past, and I think it was nice to see that it was actually so fresh and kind of wearable and just sort of exactly what you wanted from it, I think. I love those boots as well.
I mean, I actually really like Versus, because when I saw Versace, we were watching it here, and because we had the sound right down, it felt really safe and quiet and a little bit staid, and then you saw it rocking out of Versus, and you just thought, that's why she was doing this, and it sort of made a little bit more sense, because while you're walking the plank for Dolce and Gabbana, you'll realise that without sound and without being there, you do get a slightly different experience to it.
That's why it's quite nice to look at the Gucci show in silence, because you've got all that amazing colour just being thrown at you and these beautiful silhouettes.
To be honest with you, I didn't, oh my goodness, are we starting on time? To be honest with you, I wasn't sure about Gucci first of all. It was only when I got home afterwards that I'd calmed down, because we had a very bad schizophrenic live stream, and it was like a car crash watching it. But now I've seen it, oh look, there are people on the front row. That's not terribly interesting. But from the clues that we've seen at Dolce and Gabbana this time, there are cactuses, which is not a great clue, but if you can look at the invitation, it's going to be a hot summer. And last year, obviously, they were all inspired by, last summer there was all the food references, the lemons, the pasta. And there's this fabulous quote from Sophia Loren that is one of their icons, that is, I owe everything I am to spaghetti.
That's brilliant.
What do you think, Ava, who is the Dolce woman? I mean, Sophia is a great...
Well, she's a great example. I think it's a very... I love the Dolce woman because she's quite ageless. She's a woman that real women can relate to, and I hate the term real women. I think it's so pedestrian and ordinary, but I just mean, I wish there was another version of real woman, but all I'm saying is that because I feel that I'm very much part of fashion, but I'm very much somebody who lives a real life and has... I'm not really sort of as hugely into fashion as I was in a strange way when I was younger, so I think the Dolce and Gabbana woman is very much a sort of timeless, perennial woman who you can be when you're 18, you can be when you're 30, you can be when you're 60, and that's what I love about the brand.
Judy, you've been very quiet sat there. Tell me.
Well, I haven't checked any of the Milan shows.
Well, you'll be fired. You're fired. No, but thinking of cactuses, pasta, pizza, coffee, Dolce, Gabbana.
I know what K means about the Dolce and Banana woman. But for me personally, I find it's a classic shape. It's a bit too classic for me and a bit too retro. I think they could do with a bit of modernising, really.
I think what it's like is the body, and being a woman. You see, there's half of me which is this fashion person that can just love the sort of sheer conceptual aspect of fashion. Then there's the other side of me, which is a woman who actually wears the clothes. And I like my boobs, I like my bum. And the thing is about, and you know, and I think the thing is with Dolce is that the clothes make your bum and your boobs and your waist fabulous. And that also is retro somehow. Do you know what I mean? It's how can we as women and everyone in the business sort of merge that together to create a modern shape, because you know what, the cardboard box shape which looks great on the 18-year-old girls, women don't want that.
But I think that's why they classic, if we're going to call it that, although I hate to describe something so sexy and passionate as classic. It's something that it's their style and that's what they do, and I think actually it works without trying to always break the mold and do something different. It's so reassuring to know I can go there and I can get a dress. Whether or not I have the curves, it's going to celebrate whatever it is about me that is a woman, and I think that's their stamp, and that's why they always work so well.
And I think about modernising it just depends on how you wear it as well. Of course, everyone can wear it in a different way and make it relate to them.
Exactly. You're wearing Dolce.
They're streaming, but they haven't actually sat down yet, so that was a bit of a false promise that they were going to get going. Maybe, do any of you have you been at a Dolce show?
There's always that excitement.
Yeah.
You know, when you sit down, you think to yourselves, you know at the end there's going to be that amazing parade of women, and you think, how are they going to do it? You always feel like you've been scooped up and dumped into one of those amazing ads that they do.
Yeah.
And they do, there's a chirpiness about it, I don't know what it is, and again, I think it comes back to that fun, playful sex appeal.
Yeah. Well, their ad campaigns with Scarlett Johansson or with Isabella Rossellini, they always use real women, they don't use piglets, and I think that that's sort of quite a good sign of, you know, I mean, it looks like a little bit of a harvest festival here, but I'm told it's cactuses everywhere. So there's obviously sort of like a hot tropical summer holiday about to go on there.
Sicilian summer coming on.
And they also do what the Italians do brilliantly. They sell it, you can be glamorous, you can wash the dishes and be glamorous, you can hang out the laundry and be glamorous, you can go to a funeral and be glamorous. You know, that's what they do, and that's what those ads capture.
Yeah.
Viva Italy.
I'm imagining Monica Bellucci and her like.
I
love her.
Fabulous.
Oh, I don't know who this is. I think, yes, I've just been told that he's about to start singing or something. So yeah, no, everybody's getting their seats down. Because today's quite a contrasting day. There's Dolce in the morning and Armani in the evening, so you couldn't have two more different things together. Would you ever style them together?
Dolce and Armani?
Yeah.
I think it's possible, yeah. But I love to do like very mix and match.
Yeah.
So I always do things that kind of like don't really work with each other and make.
What sort of thing will you look out for at Dolce?
I mean, I love their sense of humour that they have actually, and like they create this kind of story, and it's like very, very tongue-in-cheek, and I don't feel like they take it too seriously, and they have fun with it, and I always just kind of look forward to what kind of story they're going to show us each season.
And Verity, what do you think about them launching Couture last summer?
Yeah, that was really exciting. I mean, I think that's definitely an interesting way forward, especially what with dismissing the D&G line and then going forward to Couture. It's a big sort of stamp, isn't it, about the sort of level of aspiration that they're sort of going forward to. I think it's another, you know, it's an exciting sort of add-on to the Couture list actually, which sometimes, you know, seems a bit too small to sort of be original. So I think it's really nice to have an Italian name there with such sort of recognition.
It's quite interesting that rather than carry on with their second line, they've gone up to the Couture line.
That's what I think it says a lot for the sort of customer they're trying to obtain and make sure that it's sort of this really sort of higher level.
But I think they've blended in their second line. I think it was a great idea to just blend it in instead of always having to feel pressurised. Their second line was not different to the main line, so what was the point? They didn't need to make any statement with it. They just scooped it all up and put it together as one.
I missed the D&G line.
I
really enjoyed it. I really liked it.
But you can still find it. You can still go in and get that. It's just not marketed as a separate concept.
Kate, what do you think about the way that they always have such strong women and strong faces at Dolce and Gabbana? The way they always, you know, they have the shot red lips and they have very Sicilian type.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I love that. I mean, it's as I was saying before, it's very perennial. I mean, I think it's interesting, it's how to update that, because those things can always be, you know, a part of a woman's sort of makeup wardrobe, as it were. But I think it's how to wear that and how to, you know, make it your own.
Yeah.
But it's so classic, and I think every woman wants to know how to wear, you know, that great eyeliner and how to wear that lipstick. Yeah. You know, I've never met a woman who doesn't want that. At least experience it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they usually have a fairly impressive front row. Obviously, he is someone massive that I do not know.
Very rude of them not to tell us.
No, but they will be somewhere. They will be somewhere telling us who he is. But are we getting music as well? How exciting! We're going to start putting in the music as well.
Do you know what's also nice about these? What I love about Dolce and Gabbana, even though you get Stefano Gabbana tweeting every day, he's buongiorno wherever he is in the morning, and I don't know where he is most of the time, it looks beautiful. But I'm completely in the spirit of it, and he's been tweeting a little bit now, last night, he didn't show anything, but there was excitement in the show, so again, it's drawing everybody into it to feel like you're a part of that whole.
He's a designer that's really embraced Twitter and the internet. I mean, some of them just, you know, some of them are extreme to the other. You know, Tom Ford didn't let anybody into his first show, and I've read that he's showing next season at London Fashion Week. That is annoying. Let's get rid of that for a minute. What do you think about how designers are using Twitter and sort of talking to their customers, I suppose, as it goes on? Do you think it's a good thing, or?
I think it's really good. I think it makes you feel more involved, and I think it makes the fashion industry more inclusive to much more people, and I think it kind of makes you feel, especially in this case, quite affectionate towards them, and you feel like you're really into their story.
It's true. It's interaction, isn't it? I think that's what's great about social media, is it brings everyone together. And that's what I love about it.
But I do understand there is Tom Ford. I can understand him not doing it, just slightly different, because then it makes that a little bit more desirable when you can do like lip gloss.
Absolutely.
Or his nail polish, there's more
right.
mystique about it. But
exactly.
at some stage, I'm sure he will.
I mean, maybe he will
do something completely different, but embrace it.
And join it, because he was so exposed in his Gucci and YSL days that he kind of wanted to pull back and get him.
The danger is you sort of forget that there was a Tom Ford show, and you got so busy caught up in all the rest of the technology and the other shows that you might just forget that there was one.
But the buzz it creates, I guess it's what's lovely is that it gives people more variety in terms of their PR. Because what I think fashion is lacking in general for me growing up in the 80s, that everything looks the same to me and everything is so generic. You know, Judy and I come from a culture where fashion was not corporate. You know, we were completely, you know, I was just like you. We were just, you know, this was what we were. And I find that everything is so samey and everyone does things in the same way. So how great that Tom Ford does it his way. This person does it. I want them all to have different points of view, and I want the ideas to come. That's right. I want to be able to see the difference between the designers. I want to see the difference between photographers. I want to see the difference between their women. You know, and I want them to be a bit braver. You know.
But it's actually quite interesting, because it's allowed people to then tell you, if amongst those thousands and millions of tweets that designers must be getting, amongst all of that there must be guidance as to how women are shopping, what they're looking for.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's what you guys do so well,
etc. But you do have that chat with everybody.
Yes.
Judy, what are you thinking? Well, we've got a little bit of Vivaldi trimming in the background.
It's the spring.
You're obviously going to be like a slow coming for the kill at some point, aren't you?
I
know.
I would love to see. I would love to see what Judy would do if he had a room full of Dolce and Gabbana and you know vintage and now, and a whole bunch of your best mates from the years. How would you dress? I would love to see how you would dress that woman.
Before it sounded like I was really slagging
No, it didn't sound like that.
I'm not slagging.
No, it didn't sound.
You know, a curvy woman.
No, of course you're not. No.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying sometimes the way it's presented to me looks retro.
And that's interesting.
But
that's why I'd love to know.
If I use their clothes in a shoot or a whatever, you know, they're fantastic.
Exactly. I mean, imagine Nana in it.
Down.
It's true. Imagine Nana wearing it. Busting it and
sure
up on stage, and of course you have.
Let's see what's coming on the Twitter feed. I'm not quite sure what this piece of music is. I think it's Entrance of the Queen of Sheba or something. Okay, so we're very much going back to Sicily. Here's the lyrics to the song that are in their programme. So they've got song lyrics rather than, but I can't even see that, it's too small, so let's not even pretend. So we're very much going back to Taormina again, which is where they hosted their couture show in July. A city I have much affection for. No, I don't. But never mind. So we've got cactuses and Karen Rockfeld. How perfect.
Oh, that's Marpessa. She was my favourite model back in the day. I loved her. I wondered what happened to her. She was amazing with her bags. I used to love her under eye circles, and then I used to cover them up.
Really?
Amazing, yeah.
Yep. Cactus reference? Definitely.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of cactus references. And Anna Della Russa will probably be bouncing around somewhere. I mean, I used to like their advertising when they did it with Michelle Compton. They'd have just like the slick white t-shirt or the popping out of the corsets. I sort of preferred those ones to the later Madonnas or this that, and the other. I thought those were kind of sexier. It was sort of like
very obscure.
Yeah. I do like the ones now, though. I think they've got that whole sitting around the table with the entire family, and everyone has got that little cheeky sparkle in their eye, and the women are women, and the men are men, and it's like,
I love real. Everybody else tries to pull it off, and it just looks so naff, and you do believe it.
I sort of want to.
You believe them, don't you? No, Monica isn't. She's quite a fabulous one.
Goes out with Vincent.
I mean, it's too sexy. It's too much. It's too much. It's too early in the day to think about those two.
Okay, well, we've got pretty much everybody in their seats.
They're all waiting too.
Oh no, this is an absolute. They usually do 2 shows for Dolce. They do a buy show and a press show, which I think sort of shows how powerful Dolce are on the Milan schedule, that they get the final day. Well, there's a little bit of an argument going on about whether this is the final day or tomorrow is. Mr. Cavalli and Armani are very upset with each other, but this is our final day. Because you need to have a little bit of a fashion pause. But I think it's interesting how that they do pack them in, and they have this purpose-built stadium on hand. Like, this is theirs all the time. That they have. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Can anybody see who that is?
It's Fergie from Black Eyed Peas, isn't it?
Is it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Can't tell by that.
I love the way you can tell. He's fabulous. I don't know who he is. I think he wrote the song that was in the programme or something. That, or somebody's going to tell me he was Brad Pitt and I haven't recognised him, but never mind.
Dolce & Gabbana is a little bit like, even if you like it or not, or you wear it, it's sort of one of those brands that you think, it's a bit like when you go to a foreign country, nothing makes sense. If you suddenly see the Coca-Cola sign or the Starbucks sign, or the McDonald's, or the Converse train, and you think, oh, okay, got it. I'm part of it.
I wonder if they're going to do some like real women casting like they did for their men's show.
Oh, that would be fab, wouldn't it?
We were just saying earlier, but maybe the bodies would be
call real women instead?
Yeah, I know.
What would you call real women instead of real women?
I can't bear the term. I can't bear it.
Yeah, women.
You know,
I think women should be called women, just women, and the ones who are unusual should be called by that. But the rest of us shouldn't be ordinary or pedestrian. It's such a dreadful term.
Well, Anna and Sue
good. Do you know what I mean? You feel like you're being so derogatory.
Oh yes, absolutely.
No,
it's a horrible term.
It's a normal.
It sounds like ordinary to me.
Like 4 billion people.
There should be definitely a word for it.
Exactly. Right here, right now. Come on.
Yeah. Word for real women.
Oh, Tim Blanks. Look at him, Tim Blanks.
They've all had haircuts.
Yes, Italian haircut. Brilliant.
Oh gosh, there are quite a few gaps. Oh dear, that won't do.
Oh dear.
No, but it's only on the stairs.
No, that's the stairs.
That's the stairs. Okay.
Okay, well that's a bit cruel to zoom in on people with crappy seats. But I think it's a 500, 600 capacity for this show, so it is a really big show, and they are streaming it to their 2 million Facebook friends. So it is a pretty big audience to get right. I think the carpet has come up, so I think we are pretty ready to start.
It's probably Pat and Guido holding things up.
Yeah, it is Pat, yeah.
Hurry up, Guido, get that ponytail in, come on. Assuming it is those two.
It's very weird to talk about a show as it's happening live, because usually when you review a show, you can write your notes in your book and go away, have a coffee and D Prada or D Gucci and say something, whereas here you have to sort of, as much as you're live streaming, you're verbal diarrheaing straight away your opinion, and you can't sort of take back anything that you've said.
But it's nice to have that chat that you made, as you were saying earlier. You might have backstaging here, chatting with friends, or chatting when we get lost. How many times do we get lost going to the show? But that is all part of that man's experience. You can't explain to anyone else when you're saying this is the new black.
Well, you can't go. Oh, I missed that one. You can't go to a show by yourself. You can't just sort of like not share a show experience with somebody.
But people don't tend to share too much when they sit in there.
No, they are all quite. Secrets.
But even afterwards, sometimes you get back in the car to go to the next show and nobody says a word about what you've just seen. It's so strange. You think, did we all just see that?
Because they probably want to wait until everyone says it's great and so that they can sit there as well.
Sheep. I think Twitter has taken away the fashion sheep. I think you have to sort of like go with your opinion.
That's great. That's more
I think that's quite interesting because before you used to wait until...
Yeah, like What's Up With You, Polly McGoo, with a Diana Freeland character, and she goes, and everyone's like silent, and then suddenly she goes, fabulous, and everyone goes, oh yes!
Actually, first of all, when I came out, I'd never seen a Christian caricature show. How amazing is that? I thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing, and it was just deathly silent. But it was amazing.
Yeah, and you think, was it? I'm sure it was amazing. Yeah. It's all subjective anyway, so you may as well say what you feel.
Yeah, no, exactly. Okay, we're clearing, we're sitting. I do not know, so don't ask
One
me.
last picture. That's
Letitia
Casta.
Casta,
No,
yeah.
is she not the new face?
Love
Something
her.
about Dolce.
She looks great.
Oh, she looks
Oh,
fabulous.
I love it. You can't go wrong white shirt, black
and look at
tuxedo,
that
red lips,
Yeah.
hair tied back.
Everything.
Fabulous.
So cool.
Now, is there a red lip for skin tones?
Yes, there is, yes.
You have to get the right red.
I love how many people are wearing Dolce
Yeah.
and have a total Dolce look going on.
Yeah, but
There's
they
a
have a
spectrum,
easy
isn't
to
there?
wear.
Such a spectrum
But they
of
do
suits and
do a
dresses.
front
and-
row
Yeah.
experience. They
Yeah.
they sort of they dip you top to toe in the experience. I have to say, with my limited eyesight, she looked like a young Isabella Rossellini there.
It's nice to see the clothes in action on the front.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I love going to a show and everyone's wearing the designer.
Yeah, like an homage to it. It's brilliant.
Okay, this
Building up to
rousing
crescendo.
music must be building to a crescendo.
Oh, look at her, she's amazing.
Okay, let's have a quick squiz backstage and see if there's anything
I've
else
seen her
on the
buttoned
feed.
up as well, because she's
Yeah,
normally very,
she's
yeah,
always
'cause
really
she's,
busy,
yeah,
yeah.
they always go for that thing.
But she's still got her shape.
Her shape,
No,
exactly.
that's not helpful.
Oh, I like her.
I also love the way that the Dolce woman would wander around in that for the afternoon.
Of course.
Gosh, I would.
Okay, stop being fabulous and start the show.
Do you want to make sure everybody knows that Letitia Casta is there, don't they?
What show was before this one this morning?
There was Marnie this morning
Right.
and lots of Reese's because in Milan they have such strong advertising. Everybody has to go back to do a Reese to kind of kick in and
I see.
be friendly and see that one. And I think everybody's cramming in their Reese's today before they leave tonight to lie in a little coma before they go off to Paris.
Yeah.
But Mr. Cavalli is showing tomorrow and he's very upset because Giorgio is showing tonight rather than tomorrow. So all the big editors are leaving tonight. So
Naughty.
so the two boys are having a little bit of an argument with
You
each
think with
other.
his advertising pull that they'd stay for him as well, wouldn't you?
I mean, you would have thought so, but you had just Cavalli, but also now you have live streaming. Do you
So
really
people
physically
still feel
need
like
to be
they're-
there?
Mm.
I mean, I think there is a different thing. I think there is a very different experience to going to a show. I don't think you can beat physically going to a show.
Yeah, you're not as seduced, are you?
No, it's you know, you don't feel the fabric crunching past you. You don't get the whole...
Do you think we concentrated more when we didn't have to worry about taking those pictures and tweeting? And
Yeah, I
blogging?
think
It's
we
so
did,
funny
yeah.
because if you, that's all you could do with pen and paper and draw really bad sketches in my case. And now
you have
I'm
somebody's
I read
iPad
the-
in front of you
But
taking a
also,
picture of
I went to not very many, a few shows at London, and now nobody claps when the girls do their finale, or
it's often quite
because
quiet,
people are too busy doing their same tweet photo as everybody else.
Sometimes when filming at a show, I realise I'm not actually even looking at the clothes. I'm looking at everything.
Yeah, making sure you get the right thing.
Yeah.
Who's that?
She's fabulous.
her earrings
She's
are amazing.
yes, she's been to the doctor a lot.
She's been to Dr. Dolce. I hope their mamas are there. I can always just imagine their mamas sat there with doing their Sicilian lace making in the front row.
Shelling peas.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Go.
Drum roll.
Just like with that. Just imagine
And you
with
don't
that.
get told off for talking, whereas you would
Oh,
at a show.
Yes.
I mean, Christ, there's been a big build-up for this one. I'm going to have a bit of cake while
We
they're-
can't get that on full screen, can we?
Yeah, we can.
I think, would we like it on full screen,
Yeah, that would be
everybody?
good.
There we
Yeah.
go. There we
I
go.
didn't do that till it started because I wanted
sorry.
to have my options to go in.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I
What is
spotted
that
no.
in the background?
What? Don't be pushing, Natalie.
Huh?
It's Harvest Festival.
Really?
No, it's cactuses. It's all about a cactus. It's packed in there, and it's always so hot in this venue. I can't even tell
Yeah,
you.
but you have to just suffer for the cause.
Well, no, I think so.
Not everybody's fanning themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, look. Oh, I mean, talk about the element of suspense. It's like going to an Italian opera, isn't it? It's like, you can imagine all those ladies with their powder puff wigs and everything
Yeah.
turning
It's
up
exactly
to
the
an 18th
same, and you're
century
gonna look
opera.
Through the opera glass and see who's wearing what and sitting where.
Yes, exactly.
With you.
But I think they really know their customer and they understand that. I think they're a big pull to Milan. I'm glad they showed their couture in Sicily rather than Paris. I think they would have.
When did they do the couture then?
Week after the couture in July, yeah. So Paris couture happened and they all popped over. It was the first time they did it in July. I don't know whether they'll do it in January because it gets very close to menswear. Because the menswear's now come forward, so it's all a bit...
It's nice that now the fashion bride can have a Dolce moment too.
Because they always used to have a line called demi couture, didn't they? In the pre-fall
really?
resort, they had a demi couture section of the look, but they used to call it demi couture.
Oh, for goodness sake, we're going to have to send somebody over.
When you're there, you don't even notice, do you? So when you're staring at a screen, it's like...
I wonder if they've got exclusive models.
Well, there are no backstage.
Because that makes it quicker for them, you'd imagine.
Does it?
So, well, they don't have to wait for the other girls to get the glitter off and get the stuff out the hair and everything else.
They tend to, for these shows, block book girls for the morning just so that they don't have the drama of them coming from... I think in Milan and Paris it's all about securing exclusives, whereas in London it's a bit of a sort of...
You're lucky if you get them at all. Yeah, lucky dip, exactly.
I mean, when you're doing shows, Kay, how long would you get with the girls?
Quite a long time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, you do. But then a lot of girls might come from the show last minute. It's basically the bigger the girl, the less time you have.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, let's see what they have here. I'm relying on all of you to recognise girls because I never know anybody's names. Oh, well, she's holding
she loves it, doesn't she?
She's working those
Yeah. Listen, she's getting her money's worth. She spent a lot of money
and she's working on that. Sicilian yellow.
Get off the runway, get off the runway. That would have been me tweeting a photo home at that precise moment until it went dark. Okay, so I'll put the volume back up.
I think we'd have more of an idea if we could see backstage, how those ponytails were going.
Backstage. Yeah, I like seeing backstage.
I'd love to see backstage. Wouldn't it be
really
great?
Like backstage. I had a bit of a set too with Jean-Paul Gaultier one time because I wanted to go backstage and he never lets anybody back. Oh my gosh, that's a bit loud.
It's the Raging Bull theme tune.
He said he liked to imagine that you'd only see a swan swimming out and not the legs kicking underwater. And I quite like that.
Yeah, that's very poetic.
So every time you phone the D&G press office or Dolce, this is what when you put on.
Yes, that's
I love it. And it was also the theme tune to Raging Bull, so the two reasons.
I mean, that branding, isn't it, down to the last one?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, every time I hear the song.
Maybe we should all do that, have our own theme tune.
Yeah, I think I should.
It's all about branding.
What would your theme tune be?
Something ridiculous like Vanilla Ice or something.
Yeah.
That's not ridiculous, that's cool.
I don't know what I'm going to have to think about
really
that.
think
for the
about
rest
that.
of the
It's commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, that is commitment. Because once that's
Quite a
it.
statement.
I mean, my initial reaction was to let the dogs out, but
No, you can have that one.
okay, we really are about to start Cactus City.
The music just makes you feel fabulous.
Love a headscarf, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Last that label and Prince is what we want to know.
I love how proud they are of being Italian and coming, where they come from. You can see this is a holiday in Sicily.
And it's just colour and more fabulous.
It's like endless how much inspiration they take from it.
Yeah. Well, those soldiers, the soldiers,
Oh,
they are the
Was it
Sicilian
Hafizah?
army.
Yes.
So the print on there is the Sicilian army.
Yeah. I bought my friend a
Do
puppet
you think
of
she's a
that.
female warrior in that?
Well, Dolce
There's
women's
some
always
bright
very
wearing
strong.
again.
Bit of monochrome. His earrings couldn't actually be any bigger, could they?
No.
She looked a bit bored, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can make it a little louder.
Didn't you say this in the late 50s?
Yeah.
Yeah, Riviera.
Yeah, very Riviera, little shorts and the longer skirts. Yeah, that's
I'm kind of loving elements of it, and then that's all together.
Stripes. Come right through from New York.
That's kind of great.
That's great.
But it's not so much jailbait as glamour.
The shorts are incredible. Oh, those shorts, I love
Those
those.
high-waisted shorts.
They're very cool.
That's like the
Good
D&G
waist
element, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
that's
this sort of more casual.
You could imagine Liz Taylor, Burton era,
Yeah,
just
totally.
on Capri on holiday.
Look at the high-waist ones, great.
It's like a big Maori necklace.
Around the waist.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I'm actually looking at all of this as in what would I buy.
Yeah.
I'm so not, I've almost sort of like come to the other end of the spectrum. I started off as a shopper and then ended up
See, I like that shopper.
Yeah. Well, you just think, what will I shoot?
Yeah, I think what I shoot. That's great. Yeah. Ooh, nice shape.
Because that's just going on, right?
It doesn't matter.
Well, with waist, do you think it goes in and out?
Yeah,
you're
it's
fine.
Nice sunglasses.
They were all doing a bit of glass thing. Prada had this.
Yeah, well, I was really into the Prada ones. I like all the colours
Very
here.
flouncy. And they do it.
Guys, would you recognise this as Dolce if you didn't know it was Dolce? Just out of curiosity, you would. What are the signatures for you, Verity? What signatures are
Those
there?
crazy prints in silk.
I think
like
the silks, but I don't think
And
the jewellery now.
detailing,
Right.
little teeny shorts.
Yeah.
But it's the prints, even the hair detail.
Yeah.
They've had their hair up as well for the last couple
Yeah.
of seasons, and the scarves and the big
Right.
earrings.
Yeah.
I think it's quite
So you could tell.
I think so.
What do you think, Judy?
It's not floating my boat.
You're not going to be wearing those earrings?
Maybe the earrings.
Probably the only bit you do like, aren't they?
What does it remind you of, Judy? Come on, let's have a
Look
look.
at that.
What do you, say honestly, what do you think about it? Just say it, just say it. Go on.
Someone said, I think, a woman looking at
Yeah,
it.
I'm just
and
thinking
me
like
looking
a
at
skirt,
this.
yeah.
It's two completely
It is.
different things.
Totally.
But I agree.
To me, that looks like a tourist tea towel
Yeah.
from the 1950s.
Yeah.
Probably what it is.
Yes, it does, you're
Now
right.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
getting from it.
You're absolutely
and
right,
You're
Dave.
getting, oh, I love those shorts.
Shorts, Yeah.
That's the blouse
Yeah.
push my buttons out.
Yeah,
lovely.
it's true, yeah.
So we're looking at it.
It's true, because I'm not so keen on the prints myself. I'm not big on prints like that. I mean, quite like the
And
stripes.
this is
but-
what I mean to me,
Yeah.
the retro thing. I mean, that doesn't look 2000.
No, it doesn't,
Yeah.
and also top to bottom, none of us would wear that top to bottom. There's elements of it that you might pick out, but you'd actually be really simplistic everywhere else. If I was going to wear those shorts, which I wouldn't because I've got guys, but I'd wear a t-shirt with it.
making a beeline for that shoe or that short or that.
As pieces, but as a whole, I don't. It's too it's a bit frumpy.
Yeah.
The stripes I'm finding a bit frumpy, but
You don't like the stripes, Judy?
But
no.
they're not going to be flattering if you're
I mean, if
that
you're on
size,
beach,
and
yeah, maybe you don't care anyway.
Well, they're kind of beach parasols, aren't they?
I love that.
Oh, that's kind of great. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
an
no, I
idea.
like that.
That's a bit like
Raffia
Chris. That's a bit
ones,
Chris
yeah.
Nemeth almost with the raffia. She says.
It's just a bit more interesting, isn't it? There's something about it.
I'm glad they brought back the potato sack dress.
Yeah.
You are.
The potato sack dress. That was one of my favourites when in the 90s and Naomi and Lindsay were wearing them.
Oh yeah, Chris says,
Well, at least she's come out of mourning.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. No longer in the morning. Wait till the finale, they might all be in the morning.
I want to see some lace.
Well, they've more lace than their traditional lacing this time. Maybe they got the grannies crocheting that.
Good old lace.
And again, what's interesting coming from just from a woman's angle, a lot of these clothes, if they were on women who are actually buying them, they would look frumpy, and it's so much often the way, I'm just going to say it because no one's paying me to say otherwise, which is so great. You know, if you get really, really young girls who are flat-chested and interesting and have interesting alien bodies, the minute you put frumpy clothes on them, it looks modern, and in a way it's more work to do something modern on a girl of any age or of shape. Do you know what I mean? That's where true modern design comes in.
It's more effort, isn't it?
It's much more effort, because it's so often on a fashion shoot you've got somebody, it's an old thing, you get the edgy girl to sell the frumpy outfit, to sell the black dress, to sell another grey skirt.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what these look like on a rail.
You have to dissect a lot of those and balance it out with something skinnier or just get the difference in proportions, I think.
I mean, there are a lot of pieces rocking out here. I mean, if you think that you'll only buy, do you know what I mean? A buyer would only probably buy 12, 15 pieces. Interesting though, with them, their sales is 60% ready-to-wear, 40% accessories, whereas big luxury houses are usually 80% accessories, 20%.
Oh, that's interesting. So more people are buying their clothes.
More people buy the clothes than the accessories.
They have such a big collection, which has nothing to do with the catwalk as well. They have so many commercial pieces. It's such a big commercial.
And they're also intended to do the whole look.
The thing is that if I did those earrings, the rest would have to notch down a bit.
But also
Dolce, loving those earrings.
Yeah, absolutely. But Dolce have never really sort of really garnered the handbag market.
No.
None of us have ever wanted the statement Dolce bag. Whereas Chanel is different. Yes, maybe shoes, but not as much as Prada or something like that. Think about Prada and Chanel when it comes to shoes and handbags.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to see.
You see, I know they do it all the time, but I love it. It's fabulous.
But their underwear is also amazing.
Well, in a way, that's the benchmark of the Dolces. Their design, it's the bodice. You know, the corset dress. They can always go back to that.
Well, I mean, in a way, this is their bread and butter piece, because these, if you were going to Dolce and you couldn't get your sexy corset with your lace, you'd feel a little irritated. I think that's why I felt a bit that Versace was a bit subdued the other day. I think as much as you want people to move forward, you get upset if you don't have your...
That's basically the same look,
It's very postcard, isn't it? Very faded postcard.
One new approach.
Yeah, so Mr. Pearl out basket weaving.
Yeah.
That's a shopping basket.
So Guido had an easy time then, didn't he?
Rapper headscarf.
Yeah.
That would be tricky for a dinner party.
Just a bit of fun.
But it does... No, but it does, as a final piece, it does sort of show how they love the hourglass woman. You know, and the fact that she's wearing the sexy hourglass with a flat. But this time people are pushing flats more than...
They are, aren't they?
Yeah, I said that with the flats.
Oh, something.
They're all going to come out.
Now they're going to come out.
Oh,
What are they
they're
wearing?
miraculous.
Oh look, Nats. We're going swimming to the plage. No, they've all had a lovely holiday down in Sicily, and they're all wearing souvenirs. Good Lord, that's a huge casting.
I think for me, I'm just a bit this is too much.
It was clear, I think it was a one look girl.
I haven't got many black girls at all. Hello, can we just discuss? There's not one black girl there.
Not one.
Tut.
Not one.
Big tut, guys. That's really not okay.
That's
Sorry.
Not modern,
Not modern,
that is not okay.
not cool, not okay.
There they are.
Yeah.
So what were your initial reactions to that show? Do you think it was a success? Did you like it?
Yeah, you know what, it gets you into that whole tutti frutti Dolce and Gabbana mode, and they kind of throw it at you en masse. I'm not a huge fan of stripes, but I was very happy to see those beautiful cinched in waists. I love fun prints. I wouldn't particularly go for any of the warrior prints myself. It was a Dolce show.
Okay, what did you think?
I like little pieces, but overall, I've never liked personally over styling from head to foot. There's not enough skin. It wasn't sexy enough for me. it's not my cup of tea. But I did, you know, I appreciated the look that they'd executed, but it wasn't my cup of tea.
Well, I do think their craftsmanship is, you know, the way they, I mean, I know it was slightly extreme, but the way they were basket weaving, corsets. And what did you think about the Sicilian holiday, Judy?
I think I'll go back to Brazil.
Come on, Judy, just tell it.
Say it like it is.
Go on, you've got to say
I think Dolce and Gabbana do sexy so well, and I wish sometimes it would have been a little bit more sexy.
Yeah.
There's always something in the shows, but overall, it wasn't.
Well, maybe also, now they're doing the couture, they're putting all of their red carpets into the couture, and they're sort of like...
But also those silhouettes seemed, and a bit of the basket weaving, I don't know if there was a lot of skill. This is where you need side notes that they've pre-given to you. If there's to get all the themes right, it's like some...
No, but I think that there was a lot of skill in the, I think the detailing, I think it would have been sort of hand-painted silks, and I think there would have been, you know...
Somebody sat there weaving with...
You know, your Sicilian mamas crocheting the lace up and the raffias and the print. Verity, did you think it was a successful Dolce message?
I think it'll be successful to the people that always love Dolce. You know, there's no surprises there for anybody really. It's, you know, there's elements like we said that are pretty, that are wearable, there's things that will obviously never be made that just, you know, feature in the fashion shoots. Probably going to be the most requested look is the big sort of, you know, the huge dress at the end, just because it's more interesting maybe sort of from an editorial purpose.
But when you look at Milan as an overview, Dolce is a show that it is a big name in the Milan sort of listing. You know, you could, if you were compiling a team of football players from Milan, you would have Mr. Dolce, Mr. Gabbana, Mr. Armani, Mr. Gucci, although they're dead, and Miss Prada. You know, they are one of the big players to have in it. What other shows do you think have defined Milan this week? Do you think that was a show that will have defined Milan, or do you think it's more about Prada this time leading again?
Personally, I don't see. I think Dolce and Gabbana is like, it's like the furniture in Milan, but I think there are other shows that you always look to define it, because they always, so obviously Prada will always, it's the one that you look at because she's always going to do her own thing. But I think you sort of know, and it doesn't bother me that it's not going to push the boat out or be completely different.
It looked very Italian. It looked very, very Italian.
I think
they do what they do, and they do what they do well, and then you will look to Prada and think, what, okay, that's completely different. Marnie, how they're working with princess season. So they all tend to do what they do really well. It's like no one stepped over into each other's territory.
Especially not Dolce, they're never going to, I guess you never expect them to do that.
I never expect, a kind of momentous groundbreaking.
But how do you keep the market though? How do you keep the youngsters? Because at the end of the day, you can't just appeal to the old. You know.
But then again, I think that Versace this season, they were very, it wasn't muted, but it seemed much softer, much looser, much more muted. And I felt a bit sort of irritated that I didn't have Medusa slapping me in the face. And so they did stay on their formula. And I think that it's interesting, while the climate's a little bit wobbly, that they're staying on brand and sort of keeping, like, less is not more in this place, and others are. Or do you disagree?
I don't know, that's why I kind of do miss the D&G line, because even though they have like worked it into their Dolce and Gabbana line, it's not as youthful and as fun as the D&G line, which I personally would like more buy myself than Dolce. So I do kind of.
Yeah, and I think that's commercial, you see, as well. I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
I just wanted to sort of get those girls and take off half of their clothes and earrings so they could work. That's what I wanted to do. Is I couldn't bet like.
But do you think they'll
wallpaper?
Although they never tend to dilute anything from their collections. I must say. I would be interested to see if they do take any little bits of it and dilute it down for a younger market or not.
But I think they've kind of just like blurred it all out there. They've just sort of like spat out their mood board and inspiration for the season, and you're just sort of there to open up and see what's out there.
But I think that's what I like. That's what they do in the ads. So they sort of they do it from the beginning right to the end, and that's it. It's just
I mean, they sell sexy, you know. Oh yeah, look, that one I didn't notice. There were no pants.
No what?
No pants. Trousers. I'm sure
they
were wearing
pants. But they had shorts. They had shorts.
Knickers. And I liked that sort of reminded me of Marilyn Monroe in Some Like It Hot at the end, where they were all running down to the Riviera. Well, I think we should give them a round of applause and call it a day.
They've given us a little bit of a
Do be quiet, Natalie. We're calling it a day.